शुभ्रज्योत्स्नापुञ्जशोभिनीं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। हरि ओम, कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Yes, can somebody recollect anything that we saw last? Yes, Aditi ji or Chitra ji or Ramya ji. Okay, Chitra ji is
I,
starting. All right.
yeah. So again, we saw some clarifications that Shri Aurobindo gave to Nirodbaran on Dr. Nirodbaran on the avatarhood
Hmm.
related questions and contradictory statements that he had. So the in the when it comes to the struggle aspect, so if the struggles don't touch the avatar, so then the divinity in human also should not be touched by the struggles. So this was one of the points that we saw. And there was another question that Dr. Nirodbaran asked. So he agrees that man has divinity in him, but the coating is too thick that doesn't allow him to transcend so easily. Whereas for
Hmm.
avatars, though I mean, they are aware of this coating and somehow they have an edge that they know that they will never fail. So this was something that he put forth. uh, Sherbindo gives his example how he transformed, and that has given him the confidence and authority to tell others as well. So says that divine does not take any shortcuts, or with full sincerity he obliges to all the rules that he has set. And once he even takes the avatar, he follows all the rules. And even though the divinity in the avatar shines predominantly in the avatar, so it is
Hmm.
uh, there to awaken others, to show them that he is there. And the psychic being in humans or normal beings also does the same thing when once it is awakened. So that is something that Sri Aurobindo clarified Dr. Nirodbaran on. And he also says that one doesn't have to be great to be able to walk on the path of yoga, and emphasizes that if there is absolute surrender and faith, it is possible. And he emphasizes that since beginning, if it is required to have absolute surrender, it is.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not possible for everyone to do that. It's gradually it comes, is what we saw. And he also clears that he is not trying to prove his avatarhood. His whole purpose has been spreading the consciousness that he has got, and he feels that others may also feel and live this way. And yeah, the other thing was about the patients and um,
Yeah.
some sort of questions on that. One question Dr. Nirodbaran asks is, why do all patients not receive the same kind of response from the divine for recovery? Sri Aurobindo says that not everyone gets the response and not everyone reciprocates the same way.
Right.
So something we
So
saw.
the receptivity of the individual is also important. So many factors come into play. The surrender, the nature of the surrender, how complete is it, how incomplete it is. A person who has got complete surrender will also will have great reception naturally because there are less barriers. But when the surrender is only not complete, it is partial, then what is happening is the divine cannot freely function. Sri Aurobindo gave examples of so many places. Every time he is giving an example, Dr. Nirodbaran is trying to counter it with another example, which is having a little flawed logic. We can say that this is because Dr. Nirodbaran himself is going through an evolution, isn't it? He is also moving and experiencing and learning. This was something new for him, and that is a beautiful aspect. He is not tried to hide. This also shows how sincere he is. Every time we like to airbrush and take out certain things of our personality, if something is not good, we try to filter that out, isn't it? But this is the right approach. This is also how a sadhak is. A sadhak does not have these dual personalities. He's clear and straightforward in front of the world. Also, open book. Dr. Nirodbaran has put his own flaws, knowing 100 years later also people may curse him for how are you talking like this? Can a shishya talk like that? He knows that. And when he released this book, he was already an exalted sadhak. He had reached a great state. He was a teacher in the ashram school. So wonderful experiences of so many people. But this is another aspect. Why is he done it? Same reason why Sri Aurobindo is giving Dr. Nirodbaran examples. So that this path can be taken. We don't get intimidated. Sometimes we see, we see something extraordinary and we suddenly feel, oh, like there was this friend of mine in school. So brilliant, always full marks. Now he was 2 years senior to everybody that maybe gave an advantage, but that's not really much of an advantage that way. There was 3 years senior also, one person in the class who was the last rank. It doesn't make a difference. But he was so good that it was quite intimidating. We'll never reach that. That person is just too smart. It's not possible at all, is what everybody would feel. But in with life experience, as we understood, as we all grew, and then we realized, yes, these are certain faculties. That time it looked like it was out of the way. But afterwards, now we see we are all experienced equally on the same plane and we're able to understand. Can say, yes, this was a developed faculty in that person already. Others had to take some more time, but that all got developed in time. So this aspect, greatness, it is an adjective, isn't it? For a person, when you say this person is great. But greatness is something which comes through a, how we can say, by sadhana as you go ahead. And the divine is going to give the touch. The God touch is going to make it great. Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Krishna's touch, the divine's grace, all these factors. So we don't have to either aspire to become great, we don't have to get intimidated by I will never go on this path or I will never realize. Instead, if we just surrender properly, everything, all is possible, like it is said, like there is a quote attributed to Sri Aurobindo. All can be done when the God touch is there. So that God touch, are we having it? And when can this touch come? It can come in any moment and every moment also. That is the beautiful aspect. Every moment also we can experience that. That is something Sri Aurobindo is saying. But Dr. Nirodbaran is again, see my patients, see so much suffering in my patients. Cannot the force work on everybody? Then is not God. Why can't the God do that? That is what the question he asks. And Sri Aurobindo says, look, my eye. He says, my eye is also going through. Because everybody has to go through this cycle of life, isn't it? We all want to have the most ideal experience, but there's sometimes a big difference between what is ideal and practical. Yet, we deal with what are the practical hurdles, and yet at the same time, don't lose sight of the ideal. That is what sadhana is. And Sharvindo is trying to slowly bring our Dr. Nirodbaran there. So let us continue. We continue with S's case. S's case is really puzzling. It does not seem to be apoplexy, since there is no paralysis, nor is the pressure high. It seems to me a congestion, such as comes at his age, to people who live well. S is a good eater. Perhaps it may have been worse if he had not bled. Nirodbaran, he asks, anyway, there does not seem to be any immediate danger, is there? Look at that, doctor is asking. Doctor is asking the master, is there an immediate danger for his patient? Sherwin replies, probably not. People carry on for many years like that. I mean, with that tendency, provided it does not turn to real apoplexy. Nirodbaran, he goes on, NP has got a complicated eye trouble. It looks like iritis. Sherwindo says, I think you had better ask N if he's willing to show his eyes to our ophthalmologist for diagnosis only. It is evidently difficult to act without knowing definitely what the matter is, without any doubt. Going to the root also, you see, this is a very interesting aspect which has to maybe it will be covered later on by modern science also. This aspect of how forces are being utilized, how forces are being sent. Medicine is also happening. It is like what we're not denying any treatment, but at the same time, receptivity. Krishna has told in the Gita, isn't it? I am the medical potency in the medicine. The divine is that means aham aushadam. Krishna says there. So something that divine force which makes that we have seen placebo having effect. Well, that is just a psychological force. But if there is a force which can improve the efficiency of medication, that would be so wonderful. And there was some technique that was being adopted. They had so many constraints. There was not much of technological development. There was little resources in all that treatments would take place. So diagnosis would be done and the doctor would also experience the force which is supporting that treatment. It's actually a very interesting thing, which it's beyond my understanding at this moment to talk about it because it's not my faculty. But definitely, this is something I've got a good chance to talk to even doctors. I was in a meeting with several doctors only from the medical line, and they said that I do not know, we have never done spirituality, so we don't know what it is. But we have seen patients who are spiritual, and he says patients with spirituality, spiritual outlook are having great post-operative recovery. They're having great pain resilience. They are having great risk. And this is something I have seen in my career. I have not got the time to walk on that path, is what the doctor said. And I don't believe in any of it, but this much I have definitely seen, and this is observation, spirituality and medicine. So we do not know. It might become a very established field as well. Anyway, let us continue. So here Sherwindo is saying, the diagnosis is important. In us also, we have to understand our body sometimes. Then when we understand our body, then we can work on it. Otherwise, we can't. It's not like I'm unconscious of my own self. If that happens, we're not going to experience a good quality life. It is as simple as that. Anyway, let's continue. Case seems more like dengue than measles. For all symptoms are against measles. Sherbindo replies, it can't be measles in that case. Nirodban, S's case could be mild apoplexy from old age due to arterial degeneration, though no definite physical signs are evident. Shervindo replies, certainly there was no arterial hemorrhage. S denies any congestion of brain. He says there was no giddiness, but describes a vital attack and a fall due to a physical movement of his own to avoid it. His head falling on something projecting caused the bleeding. He says the congestion is a legend. Nirodbaran, he goes on. K sent me a scavenger with a big swelling above the left clavicle. We suspect some growth, cancer, or glandular swelling. He won't go to the hospital. K thinks we are not responsible in any way. But I think I would let you know. Shevindo says we are responsible only for accidents during work. If a fellow gets a glandular, other swelling, or a cancer, we have nothing to do with it. No treatment must be given. If he asks, show him the road to the hospital. Why is the one who is ever compassionate and loving everybody, Shervindo, who has sought so much for humanity, why is he saying no for this treatment of the patient? Anybody? Anyone?
Because it is for the patient to decide whether they want the treatment. They are responsible for their own actions.
Again, that is also true. Patient is also true. And the thing is, that time there were so many attempts for the government to intervene into this. So the responsibility of the ashram dispensary was only for the ashramites. If anybody else would come and get treatment, it would likely to create difficulties. And there were not. It was not that they didn't. They had a very smooth functioning. Where spies of the even though French rule was there, British spies also were there. French government also would try to intervene. All of this was going on during that time. So that is why many organizations sometimes they have certain rules for these are rules which are not ideal, but they are practically required. And here, like I think Aditi ji also told that there was this the choice. The person can go to that place because cancer treatment all required a different set of you know so many other aspects were required which were not probably available here. Let's continue. EMS is not a pimple. It looks like myobian cyst. Shervindo replies, what the hell is that? I don't know bad Greek. Most of the names are Greek, and Shervindo is a master of Greek and Latin. So here, what is this name? I don't know. It is sounding bad. It's not correct. Probably a mistake made by Dr. Nirodbaran. Um, Nirodbaran writes, Dr. Nirodbaran writes, we were surprised not to receive any answer from you 2 hours later. He says he was late. Sri Aurobindo replies, he is always. He sent me 2 letters, which I read together, repeating the same things with with different amplification. Again, Dr. Nirodbaran goes on, NP was feeling better at 5 p.m. He felt as if you were working within his eye and inferred that perhaps you were reading his letter at that moment. It was, after all, an illusion. Sri Aurobindo says only a wrong inference. Nirodbaran, what is really this impression? Is there no truth in it? There was truth, Sri Aurobindo replies. There was truth in his feeling of the force working. But his inference was an inference and not an experience. There is no infallibility in experiences. That is very interesting. Meaning there was a truth. The force was acting. But interpretation of that force, what has happened, it's like many times we are not sure what to take. Once we sometimes call upon God also for asking for signs, isn't it? Should I go right or should I go left? It's not exactly like this, but something or the other. A choice comes in front of us. So God gives us a sign, gives us an omen. God says right. Acha, acha, he meant to my right. So so we infer according to our mental preferences, our mental bias, our choices. So that sometimes comes in the way of a divine experience. The real way of experiencing is let that experience come to you, you become quiet and calm, and then when you're calm and quiet, then you can actually understand with clarity. Most of the time, when divine experiences come to us, you become clear on the inside, you feel warm in the heart, and you feel shant or calm. If that calmness is not there, you can understand these are all other forces. This is a very simple indicator. Calmness is getting disturbed no matter how many works I'm doing. No, no, I have to do so many things. So you don't, as I'm telling from my own experience, because I multitask and then in the end, I lose my calm. And then I can't say because I was doing work, I'm losing calm. It's because I'm now under the prey of the forces. Instead, I could do multiple works by remaining calm also. So when that is not happening, you are interfering. What we learned in the Gita, isn't it? Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. So suddenly a Rajasic force is coming from my side. That Rajas has become an interference. And because of that, what was a beautiful divine experience has suddenly got distorted or interpreted in a different way. That's what Sri Aurobindo talked about here. The inference, well, it is that inference which was preventing a proper realization and a proper experience also. Many times, people get darshanas also. In the darshanas itself, they suddenly get excited or they get extremely emotional, and then they're not able to understand what was that darshana for. The darshana becomes, and then because of the inference, oh my God, God did not want me to order that particular food for lunch or dinner. These are all unnecessary doubts. I'm just giving a very useless doubt to dismiss the silly logics that come into play because wrong inferences. Instead, if you do not have an inference, also it's all right. Clarity comes with time. We have to be calm and patient. That's all. Some experiences come, I don't understand, it's divine. Understood it's divine itself is a big thing. 99% people don't realize it's a divine experience. So you've got a divine experience, be happy. What is its meaning? Do the PhD later on. Finish UG, PG, and afterwards PhD will come. It will happen when the divine wishes. Instead of bringing and interfering, it's a hurry or rush of the mind. And a rush of the mind is the problem. So here you see this person, he was feeling better. He felt that he was being worked on by the divine. And then he also felt that the divine is reading his letter, what he is writing. So that was the wrong inference there. Let's continue. Everyone thinks, Dr. Nirodbaran says, everyone thinks that as soon as you read our letters, we get the necessary help, and not before that. In my own case, I got relief only after mother's touch at Pranam, or after I had written my whole trouble. Prayers are not heard, then he's questioning again. Saying, everybody's general experience is this, that only after the Guru reads, or after the divine is able to read, then only, or means here Sri Aurobindo is reading, only after that the force will flow. Let us see what Sri Aurobindo replies. It depends on how far the inner being is awake. Otherwise, one needs a physical avalambana. Avalambana is a Sanskrit word meaning support. If you are awake, if you are awake in the sense conscious, if you are truly conscious on the inside, and then even physical avalamban is not required. Grace will just flow. You will be in that dance of grace going through you. You don't have to worry. Whichever difficult moment, easy moment you will feel. Means this is one person in Australia. He felt Damleji's presence in Australia because he's a shishya of Damleji. And that time he said, this was my experience. So you see, so far away, and somebody who is very close is also not feeling the presence. And somebody so far away, what is the difference then? How is it? Normally we say when you are closer, this is just a distance is physical, no? What we talk about is metaphysical. It is something, and if you see, we are also a part of something beautiful, metaphysical. It's a continuum that is going on. Like for instance, now we are having a workshop on the Isha Upanishad. When was the Isha Upanishad written? Nobody who was born that time this Upanishad was written. And that same link is being, who knows, all of us might have been involved in the writing also. Some of us would have been involved in its writing. We do not know because that is the chain, that is a chain of consciousness. So if its consciousness is awake, then physical avalamban is not required. Touch of the grace, even smaran. Nana Maharaj Taranekar, Damleji's guru, one of his experience life experiences that are written. While walking, he suddenly has a like light trip, something like that. And that time, then he smiles and he says that person got saved. That's all he said. And they continue walking. And some shishya comes and saying, you saved me from drowning. That time I saw your hand came and pulled me out. Now, what is all of that? How is it possible? But that is the awakening consciousness. That connection is there. That connection is so dhrudha, that nothing can happen. So let us continue. Yes, what does Shri Aurobindo say here? Let's continue. He says it depends on how far the inner being is awake. Otherwise, one needs a physical avalamban. There are some people who get the relief only after we read a letter. Others get it immediately. They write, or before it has reached us, or after it has reached us, but before we have read. Others get it simply by referring the whole matter to us mentally. Idiosyncrasies. But this is so interesting. It's like it works different ways for each person. That is why sadhana is a matter of there's no SOP. We are making SOPs now in our lab for new tests. This has to be done. The temperature has to be like this. Ensure thermometer is put. This entire SOP is the same no matter what you do. But in sadhana, each person's constitution is only different. So each person will have to find their own way, but there is no logic that only it has to be read at this particular time, or it has to be read this way, it has to be read completely. Then only Grace will note down, yes, tick mark in checklist. Shervindo has read the letter. Now I will start flowing to that sadhak. It's not that mental logic. Some people receive it the moment they write. Sometimes we feel good just sharing certain something, and you suddenly feel, oh, my heart is now free. that heaviness that was I was carrying unnecessarily. Now I felt free after telling this. Many times it happens like that. I think all of us must have experienced it because, well, we are carrying something consciously and suddenly we become free, and because of that burden is gone, we are now free to experience something else. Like that, then sometimes the letter has to be read consciously by the Guru or by what we can say the divine. That time, Sri Aurobindo has read it, Mother has read it, then somebody else there would, some sadhak would suddenly start feeling, and that might actually match with the exact moment of being read. It would match exactly. How? What? But these are all different, and some even before reading also. So there's no specific like what Dr. Nirodbaran is trying to say. And if you look at the question, every time he's purposely being a little sarcastic or we can say critical of Sherwindo, a little on the extra in their friendship, no? The master and the disciple, there is also a Maitri Bhav there. So here he's taken it a little bit to the extra. I mean, prayers are not heard. Every time he's going to that opposite extreme. But that's fine. Dr. Nirodbaran writes, he says, I send you a diagram of M's condition drawn by Nishikanta. I hope the hell is clear now. Oh, Shervindo had said, what the hell, no? About the bad Greek. So he is referring to that. I've asked Nishikanta, was a good at drawing. I hope I send you a diagram of M's condition drawn by Nishikanta. I hope the hell is clear now. Meibomian cyst is an enlargement of one of the glands in the inner coat of the eyelid. Shervindo replies, this is more intelligible. You haven't explained your bad Greek, though. Myobiomian. It is mock Greek, a play on the word meibomian, which is the legitimate medical term and is not Greek. Myo in Greek means shut, mute, or mystic. Bo means cry or shout. So, here there was a mistake made by Dr. Nirodbaran only. And the master had identified that in the medical term because of his knowledge of Greek. Yes, you haven't explained your bad Greek, though. Myobomian, which seems to have something to do with a mystically silent shout. Let's continue. Dr. Nirodbaran, he writes, I find many things which are recommended or given for diseases are not much favored by the divine. So I think it's better to ask your opinion before any drug is given. Again, imagine how difficult it would be. Dr. Nirodbaran is just looking for a chance, so I can keep meeting every time. Shervindo replies, he says, there are some remedies which cure the disease temporarily but are bad for the system, like quinine, others which suit some people but harm others, others which have a good effect one way but a bad one in another way. That is why the mother does not like them to be used indiscriminately. Some she disapproves of altogether. Example, quinine. She also disapproves the excessive use of purgatives. The mother was very conscious about the food and everything diet taken by all the sadhaks. She felt, no, this is not right. And now we are seeing, no, in the modern times, indiscriminate use of antibiotics has created resistant strains, which are now very troublesome for all of humanity. Again, purgatives also, if we take too many of them, you're going to destroy your inner system. Whereas when is what we can say, the immunity of the body when is going to work? That's why the mothers, because some of these, like quinine is right, it was used for treatment, but nowadays it's considered a little harsh also because of the side effects. Let's continue. Dr. Nirodban says, my system has been super saturated with medicine and reports. If you could release that TypeScript document without any inconvenience to your eye, I can recharge the battery. So the Shishya is feeling a little disconnected because he's got busy with lots of reports. He says, please send me that TypeScript, that promised one which you are going to send. And my battery will get recharged. It's so beautiful it is, isn't it? This relation. He would wait for that letter dutifully, sincerely, and that one letter would become a source of joy which would carry around for, an entire day or an entire week also, without any inconvenience to your eyes. So, Shrevendu replies, release? I am seeking for mukti myself. I also want to become free. So many bandhanas, he says. Let's continue. And Dr. Nirodban says, NP is much better as regards pain. But I wonder why atropine increased the pain, as it is the drug indicated for iritis. Why did you ask it to be stopped? Shervindo replies, Mother felt that the medicines were causing trouble. You yourself saw that atropine increased the pain. Now, these were all yogic, awakened people, Sri Aurobindo and the mother, no? So they were able to understand occult levels also, and they were able to take. Just all of us shouldn't take whimsical decisions just because of our feelings. It is better to consult a doctor to take any just decisions. It's because we need to go to that state where we can understand. It was something which was really very conscious. Later on, there are some other works also where we can identify if we study even the evening talks and other aspects of even as early as that time, mother would, she would not want any pesticide related food being served. When they set up Auroville also, they had a beautifully, they still have it actually. Organic food only is there in Auroville, no pesticide there. These white poisons were avoided, two white poisons, sugar and salt. They were to be avoided. So many such Ayurvedic principles. And without reading Ayurveda Shastra, how was she able to tell all of these principles? By consciousness. That is what makes a difference. We become conscious, we will know. Sometimes our body only tells us what we need. They say food is a medicine in Ayurveda. When you know the right food to take, that food, and to understand that also, sometimes we have to become conscious. Many times body will tell us. We may not know. Sometimes say there's a deficiency in some vitamin or some other micronutrient deficiency is there in the body. If you become alert, you might actually suddenly start feeling and craving to eat certain food which will actually be good for that body. How? But that's not desire, that's not a whim. It has to become. For that, you need to be alert. Alert is important, and that is how it is possible. So let's continue without much delay. Yes. Uh, Dr. Nirudban, he asks, how do you find S at Pranam Shrevindu? He was all right, except for little weaknesses. Dr. Nirudban, M showed me his eye with a pea-sized swelling inside, yellowish. Shrevindu, it is a swelling, not a pimple. Try hot boric solution wash for the present. Dr. Nirudban, he says, the ophthalmologist said that M's condition has improved. He has advised to give salicylates for past rheumatism. Shrevindu replies, all right, salicylate him as much as the OST likes, as much as the ophthalmologist likes. Clear. One has to be dosed not only for present and future, but past ailments. Medicine, like the Brahman, transcends time. So this doctor has given a extra medicine for a past ailment. So Sri Aurobindo has brought in a. This is the concept of Brahman, isn't it? We are just looking at it in the Isha Upanishad workshop. The Brahman is Trikalatita, all past, present, future, Bhut, Bhavishyaman, Bhavishya, Vartaman, all transcending all three. Something like that. Now let's see. Dr. Nirudban, he says, an inner unquiet is running for some days. It seems as if I would mightily like to have something, but don't get it. As if it is around me, but I don't have it. Mother's writing on the forehead, 5335. That was the on 5th of March that he got experience. Even 15 days later, he's just thinking he's not given me the result yet. Mother's writing on the. I mean, this is really. A little bit of impatience, isn't it? Some of us are there waiting. I used to tell my mother, all people I'm meeting, they're all talking about spiritual experiences. They've got darshanas, they've got visions, somebody's got something. I'm meeting so many people. I was like, can I see a LED light? I want LED light only. One light also is visible. Because that impatience is there always in the start. And here we see very much. He says this unquiet is growing as if it is around me, but I don't have it. Mother's writing on the forehead doesn't manifest. And what about the universal? No sign of it, or no sign of its opening its door to this poor fellow. Meditation, concentration, aspiration, everything is gasping. Let me have some stimulant drops, please. This is a Shishya's cry, no, to the Guru. Yeah, I'm feeling this, I'm longing, I'm missing, please. I'm not getting it. It's like it's around me, I'm feeling a great inner dissatisfaction. This is actually a good feeling in a way because if you are fully satisfied and trupta, what will happen? Will you do any sadhana? Your hand will go up to give ashirwad to everybody. You already reached that high state. But it is that disquiet. Ram is how we can say Ramakrishna Paramahansa was crying. He'd gone crying that Ma is not seeing. Somebody saw him on the road rolling, and what is he crying? Maybe he's missing his mother. They didn't realize he's talking about Ma Kali. That what we can say atrupti, that's required also sometimes, because unless that is really established that you feel that this is my need, then only you will take steps. Otherwise, until that is there, you're just in a limbo state, no? Trishanku, not here, not there, something like that. So here he has understood and he wants to have it, but what to do? He's asked. Everything is gasping. Meditation is also gasping. Concentration also. Aspiration also is not there now. That is also feeling short. Please give me some stimulant drops. Let me have some stimulant drops, please. That is the word. Shrevindu replies, stop gasping and smile a little. This is a beautiful message. Can we not implement this in our lives? We're feeling, "Kya divine grace is not there, too many hurdles, I can't understand what's going on. Life is only like this." Sometimes some people feel life is like this for last birth also I'm remembering, and so this birth is also complicated. And they forget to smile, they forget to find the joy, little things. Sri Aurobindo is asking her to forget that. He says, stop gasping, smile a little. Well, if it is around you, it is bound to manifest. You have only to keep quiet and open yourself pleasantly. This is the right condition for manifestation. Open yourself pleasantly, keep quiet and experience. What will happen is slowly what is first somewhere in the air, no? That starts becoming denser. You start becoming, it becomes more dense and then it starts settling in your consciousness and then transformation will happen, not inside only, outside also. So that is what is meant here. Nirodbaran, he writes, you are seeking for mukti. I thought you never cared for it. Because a lot of, you see, well, this is one important, now we are studying the Isha Upanishad also, you see, it's bringing everybody back to the world, isn't it? It is an Upanishad which is connecting to the world. But many times people experience Vairagya and then they lose connect with the world. You know, everything is Nashwar. There is only one Ishwar, everything else is Nashwar. There is no other meaning for anything on the outside. I don't need to care about anything on the outside. I just want to leave all of it. But that's not the tradition. That is not the mukti that even Sri Aurobindo sought. That is not the mukti that even the Upanishads want from us. That is not the mukti that Krishna wanted Arjuna to have. He wanted Arjuna to become a Jivan Mukta, meaning performing actions, facing the hurdles, and yet not getting bound by them, not allowing the divine will to, for not allowing him to go out of the divine will. Divine will does not need human support. Man needs divine will to move ahead, or man needs divine support to manifest the divine will. But humans have to be receptive for it. That is very important. So this is the mukh. Means Namaji also tells there are two types of vairagya. One is a shmashan vairagya. That is a sudden withdrawal completely from everything. So many people who walk on, sometimes we see this, now there was this Kumbh Mela also, no? So many great sadhus were there. But among them also, the media will correctly find out controversial people only. They will not care for the genuine sadhus, or they don't have the time to go and receive darshana also. When so many great ones come, but suddenly one person, see, he left everything and he is so intelligent. He is such a, what a wise person he is. And then this person is, he says, no, world is like this, world is of no use, everything is useless. Imagine everybody in the colleges, youngsters see that and decide, enough. See that Baba who has done something is come in the news. I'll also come in the news if I leave everything. It's not likely to happen. So that's not the thing in Sri Aurobindo's yoga. As far as that mukti which was there, Sri Aurobindo says, that mukti I got ages ago without my wanting it. He had experienced that. What Krishna says, Brahma, Nirvana, all those aspects which are to be realized one by one. These come as a consequence of rising in sadhana or rising in consciousness. These are natural experience. Lotus blossoms, Brahma will come. It's a natural event, isn't it? It does not need an invitation. Something like that. When you start rising in your consciousness, things happen. Things start happening. So he said that I got long back. I'm not looking for it. Dr. Nirodbaran asks a question. He says, B's upper eyelid is congested. Eye drops? Shervindu. If he wants drop, if he wants drops, drop. But nothing startling. Sorry, nothing startling or violent. Please. Mother suggests camphor lotion, but she does not know the proportion and it must be light. I suppose you have no codex, book of ordinances. Shervindu has written. Nirod, you will have to go and see. Yes, he is not quite well. And also, there is some difficulty about the hair over the place of the wound. Do what is necessary, but by the way, don't scold. It made them nervous last time. Shervindo. P.S. Also, take care not to look anxious. It upsets them still more. This is a doctor has to keep that bearing. Doctor also has to be a dramatist. Keep that, don't allow the emotion. And I think not just doctor, everybody of us also, isn't it? Sometimes we have to keep a poker face, not share what emotions we are having on the inside. Why? Well, we want to win on the game of life, isn't it? Otherwise, you want to reveal your cards on your face. What's the use? Our one teacher was there in school. He would say "Mettila teride" in Tamil, meaning everything is written on the forehead. I can see. He would look at a student and say to the student on the face, you are the son of this person. You are there. You're going. Your father does this. Your mother does this." He had a great memory. And when we would ask, "Sir, how do you know?" It's written on the forehead. I can see it. So many times this happens. It is visible. So Dr. Nirodbaran has been advised by Sri Aurobindo for that same reason. Because he is very sincere, and most of the time sincere people are open books, isn't it? Everybody can predict what is going on. So that is where we have to learn. Krishna has also told, no? Dyutam chalayatam asmi in the Bhagavad Gita. For the cunning, I am the cunning in the gambler's deception. Let the gambler also understand that you cannot be cheated or outwitted because you are a representative of the divine. That must be understood. Anyway, let's continue. Go back. Dr. Nirodban, he says, S is showing signs of cerebral irritation. It is strange that I did not think of the head injury. Neither yet did you draw my attention to it. Complained also. I didn't think of it, but you also didn't draw. Look at this beautiful Sri Aurobindo's reply. The mother got the suggestion several times, But she did not feel entitled to interfere as she is not a doctor. And the suggestion was not scientific or rational, but only on unbiased intuition. The rights of reason and science, are not to be trifled with. Hail reason, holy light, etc. But it's a great pity she did not act on her intuition. She asked whether it was not necessary to open the wound and see. But Pavitra told her Andre had not found it necessary as there was no pain. But evidently something went seriously wrong. Look at that. The mother also, she did not want to impose. So she did not. Sri says, yes, this is the limit of logic every time. But it could have been better if she had acted on that, is what Sri Aurobindo is saying. Sri Aurobindo, Dr. Nirodbaran replies, Mother, thinking of this case and one or two others, I feel ashamed of my poor knowledge and experience. I was wondering how I should show my face to you at Pranam. Sri Aurobindo says, cheer up. And Danton said, boldness and again boldness and always boldness. What is lacking in you is the doctor's confidence in guessing at a disease and throwing a medicine at it in the hope that it will stick and cure. But that is not what I mean by the quotation. So this is the doctor's aspect, but another aspect is this boldness, and always boldness. Anybody, what do you think is this message? What do you think this can imply? He's feeling bad about himself, isn't it? How can I show my face for Pranam? What is this? How do we infer this? What do we draw from it? He's made a mistake. Shavinder is saying, cheer up. And then saying this boldness, and boldness. What is anybody, just for a practical, say for our life, what do we infer from this? What can we draw as a point to take home? Anybody?
Have to
Okay,
learn from
Chitraji.
it and not repeat.
Yeah,
Learn from it and not repeat.
run from it.
Learn from it and
Learn from it and not repeat. And I think it was not a, what we can say, conscious mistake done, no? Willingly or something like that, purposefully. Cheer up, it's all right. Mistake is a learning experience and being bold. Means now he is going where? To the mother or Sri Aurobindo for pranam. Why? Why should he worry about anything else? This is a place which is always given light. Why will he ever feel that I am ashamed? These are all these thoughts of self-doubt, ashamed. All these things are what we say a different type of ahankar only. We saw in Sri Aurobindo's Upanishad. Ahankar eva bija. That is the root for all the feelings. I am weak, I am hopeless. I am either it goes in the other extreme where you start fighting the divine. Divine is weak, or I am stronger. That is one type of. On the other side is what we can say, berating. All these things are not required at all, especially not in front of the divine. Make all the mistakes, but pranam time, don't feel bad. Come on, go get yourself clear. Otherwise, what will happen is if Shishya goes and is carrying that doubt, that doubt only will become like a cloud and it will become again a barrier for the reception also. So instead, cheer up. ठीक है, it happens. Buckle up. That's what Shri Aurobindo is saying. Dr. Nirodbaran, I dreamt that you had come to me for eye treatment, though there was no facial similarity. Shadamaji, you want to say something? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ji.
Yeah, I want to know whether it is called self-pity.
Sorry, ji?
I wanted to know whether it is called self-pity.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is actually self-pity, and sometimes we are unnecessarily berating ourselves.
Hmm.
It is we need to tell ourselves, ki, don't be like that. Come on. Upanishads tell, Kruto smara kritam smara. Remember great deeds you have done. Or somebody was there, no, for Anjaneya to tell him you can take that leap. You have that strength. Even he had that doubt.
Okay. Mm.
Yes, ji?
Yeah, he had this capacity. We didn't
Yes, he
know.
had the capacity. But Jambuvan had to tell him, no?
Yeah.
But sometimes problem is we don't have Jambuvan in our lives, isn't it? So what do we do?
Motivation. We
Patch
need
our back,
motivation.
pat our back. And nobody is there, it's
Yeah.
all right. No, no, it's okay, it's okay. You can do it. Nobody is there, no problem. Pat yourself, get up, chair and move ahead
Correct.
because this is not something which, because that becomes a big problem. It is a big mental
Correct.
block, but that mental block has physical, emotional, and so many other significances also. Many times, somebody's mental health is connected with the person's full physical health also. And the person becomes free mentally, physically, also full transformation. That is possible. So yes,
Can I,
there
can
is
I add?
yes. Dr. Bhavanaji is saying most welcome.
No,
Doctor's
no,
perspective. Yes,
no,
yeah.
no, not doctor's perspective. I just thought that when mother expected that people coming from for pranam should come with their defects also, so that she can purify it. But the
Ah,
person coming and coming for pranam used to feel my best should be given to mother. So they used to hide things before entering into the ashram and think about, oh, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, and I'm offering myself. And so
I'm
this
so
was,
good.
yeah.
I think
So
there was a
one side is
comment.
the guilt. One side is guilt, which stop you
Ah,
from taking. Another side is hiding also. We want to hide our defects. Defects should be offered to the
yeah.
divine. Defects should
Yes,
be offered
yes,
to
yes. It's absolutely like a child, no? Like a child. In front of God, we are like a child. We are a child only. What are we going to worry? What are we going to feel ashamed of? Nothing. Nothing. And I think Dr. Banerjee talked about there's a reference also of mother commenting also that somebody had asked in some correspondence and she replied, everybody who come at that moment of prayer, they bring in such a thick aura of their goodness, their best versions, that their what is the inner aspect they get hidden far away inside. So instead, it's not. It's just bear your faults, no problem. Move ahead and go ahead in front of the divine. Have nothing to worry. Let's continue. So yeah, Dr. Nirodbaran had a dream, isn't it? That Sherwindo had come to him for treatment. Only there is no facial similarity. Sherwindo replies, if there was no facial similarity, how do you know it was I? Dr. Nirodbaran, he goes on. Does it mean that you are still unwell? M says you walk about with a bandage on. Dr. Sherwindo had a lot of eye trouble. Shrevendu replies, the eyes are still unready for overstrain. That is all. I suppose they have erected an automatic self-defense against the call of correspondence. If you believe all the M's highly wrought poetic imagination conceives. So, this is you are going on with this, this is what the imagination that you are working with this bandage. So, yes, the eye, if you are believing that, you understand that the eye has developed a automatic self-defense for against writing these correspondences. So it is troubling him. Um, Dr. Nirodban goes on. We'll probably look at three more questions and then we can call it a day. D and H are losing their nails, perhaps due to their washing work with soda. I have asked them to wash their nails with lemon water after the work to neutralize the corrosive action. Shervindo replies, they ought to stop it. Do they not rinse properly after work? They should do so and rub each finger with lemon water. Dr. Nirodbaran, he goes on. As regards S's case, could it have been due to syphilitic gummer in the brain, the symptoms of which were brought out by the exciting cause? Shervindo replies, the surgeon told Pavitra, I think, that even hereditary syphilitic tendency could expose one to the results, and 90% in Europe, perhaps India may not have caught up in the race, were open to it. Some exaggeration, perhaps. By the way, I forgot to mention about your unbiased intuition in favor of the fracture of the skull. Okay, it was not unbiased, it was unbased intuition. I think I read it wrong. It was unbased. I think you can tell me if you find out anytime. Yes, please. So it was unbased. So I had read it. Sorry, I'll just go to that context again. The mother got suggestions several times, but she did not feel entitled to interfere, as she is not a doctor. And suggestion was not scientific or rational, but only an unbased intuition, meaning not having a specific clear base. Sometimes intuition also, you get the base also of it. You understand what it is. Humans, I think the biggest yogis, I don't know what that is. Just hoping to probably sometime understand it. But this is very much one of these great awakenings in life also is when you start getting these intuition because of receptivity. And yogis have it continuously. It's something like a beautiful experience which must be taken by everybody, must be had. And there's a great joy also when things manifest based on intuition. You're like, okay, so great. Some of the tricks of the divine Leela, they are getting visible. Anyway, let's continue. By the way, I forgot to mention about your unbiased intuition in favor of the fracture of the skull. Shavindo replies, I had written not unbiased but unbased, without any definite ground in apparent facts. I think we'll stop here. Yes. Anybody would like to look at anything, any particular, we still have a few minutes, couple of minutes probably. Anybody would like to look at any particular topic or any question that you want to look at? We could look at it or we go to the summary and conclude. Yes, please. Yes, it will be nice if anything in relation to practical everyday life, which means that's the entire purpose of our reading. Dr. Bhavana wants to add something. Yes, please. Yes, Ji.
No, I just wanted a little bit elaboration that this ahankara leads to a lot of misperception of your own self,
Yeah.
especially after mistakes and all. That ahankara,
After mistakes, Ahankar 99% of the time tries to convince how that mistake is not a mistake.
yeah, correct.
It makes us believe that no, this is right under these circumstances. This is bound to happen. That is why it happened.
Even perceptions are so abnormal of the
Hmm.
situation also because of
Hmm.
ahankara.
Okay. Yes, that's true. That's the right observation. What about it, Dr. Bhavanaji?
No, no, this is what happens when, like, we have to how to get over that. The phase,
Hmm.
you have to wait for that phase to go to get back to your normal perceptions.
Hmm. Okay. That is a wonderful question. Actually, when there is Ahankara, that time we become a little more excited, isn't it? We feel we are in command. Our intuition is correct. Our perspective is correct. Our thought is correct. Somebody tries to tell us something else. No, no, no. Actually, see, this is the thing. I mean, no, no, you didn't understand. It was like this. These thoughts only come in because right now we don't listen. We are only pushing our own force. So it's better to, but how do we realize it, Dr. Bhanaji? That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, we realize it also, we can't stop it. That is what I was thinking, that what all practices we can try it to come out of that
The
situation. Because
best, simplest way is going to the guru, and first you have to be receptive enough or conscious enough. I have a doubt whether it is Ankar or not. If you are under the guru's guidance or with in Samparka always, the guru will give left and right and clear that Ankar. That will be immediately addressed. But
yes,
but
still
if you
it
are,
takes time.
huh?
Still it takes time to come back to the normal consciousness.
Yes, it's like identifying weakness in ourselves or is identifying what is wrong. This is not berating, it is a truth. No. When you do
Yeah, yeah.
something
You have
wrong,
to accept, then only something can be done. Once we
Can
accept
we
this is
say,
happening,
can we say when we are calm, that is the only time we can have a better acceptance of our own
yeah,
mistake.
yeah, correct. We have to calm down,
So
correct?
probably we'll have to figure out how to make ourselves calm,
Yes,
isn't it? To
yes, yes.
identify that issue of the ahankara. And means how do we become calm? Stop doing the action, then we'll be like Arjuna
No,
running away from
engaging
battlefield.
some good action, engaging
No, no,
something
no.
good.
Say you are at your workplace. You are at your workplace. You're doing your action, which you cannot avoid. Suddenly, somebody comes, a colleague comes and starts talking. That colleague is also not your favorite colleague. Looking at that colleague only creates ripples. And that colleague has started talking something very what we call nonsense. That is all is happening. And now you're getting pricked inside. What will we do then? How do we become? We can't leave that dialogue because we are at a workplace. But
Actually, you can stop reacting.
that is calmness, isn't it?
Uh,
If we
Yes.
stop, if we stop reacting,
First step
reacting
is
means
Understanding.
no, reacting is
recognize
not
and
indifference.
Yeah.
Retaliating would be the better word, isn't it?
okay.
Because we are
Okay.
going to react, but retaliating on the level of forces, no
Correct.
aggression with aggression. Instead,
Yes.
you become one step higher. Then you are able to understand. I think anybody has heard of Tai Chi, the technique, the martial arts technique of Tai Chi.
You you tell.
Yes, it is like it uses the force of the opponent. It looks like they are dancing. The movements. It's a very relaxed motion. Somebody attacks with a force. That same force is being utilized to push that person down. That force is not touching the person at all. The person is able to block it without means that calmness. If you look at it, now somebody will say you bring a Tai Chi specialist and with in front of a mixed martial artist and game over. But that's all different. We are talking about the action on the subtle level. This action, there's a meditative aspect. So to bring calm, we have to cultivate it. We have to cultivate it by practicing. Dhyana can help. Smaran, smaran of the divine, smaran of what is sometimes if you're losing confidence in front of somebody, at least smaran of confidence about you. Remember who has all told nice about you. Think about that at least, no? From childhood, it could be anybody, it could be a stranger also. Why that person appreciated. So what is happening? At least on the inside, you're not getting weak. But these are all small comforts. Beautiful is going quietly into the divine. It's like focusing on the divine only. Okay, this man is coming or this woman is coming and telling me something which is going to is further against the truth and is now talking bad about me. I'm going to now remain calm. Sometimes easier to do japa also on the inside. Let that person finish. Then what do you have to say? I have to say nothing. Can we do our work? No, no, but you have to say something. Yeah, we will do our work, which we have to do together. But I have a different opinion. I agree to disagree. What? It is something you cannot do anything beyond that. If you become frustrated, I had an experience with a particular meeting where very elderly people were there. We had all come together for a particular research. We had such a big plan, such a big vision. We worked it, and at the end of the research, we got good results that we were aspiring. That's like full completion. And now they asked, what do you have to do? Now, till they ask, you don't speak, no? So then they asked me to give my opinion. I said, see, these are the results which have to be taken to the public. It has to create awareness. So if you wish to do it, these are the steps how you can do it. I explained all of it in a very simple manner. Then suddenly, this work and all God has to do. I believe we don't have to. If this is successful, these kids only or these people who have received whatever they have received, they will only become the ambassador. You don't have to go in. And now what has happened is we have done everything with a particular intention of getting the results. We got all of it, and yet a very senior person has suddenly spoken something which is questioning our entire collaboration itself.
It's just a kind of a force entering, isn't it?
Yeah,
opposite
yes,
force entering in the
yes,
system.
yes, yes. So that time I actually got very annoyed. Now, if I had responded in annoyance to this person and just told something, it would have led to disrespecting somebody else and would have resulted in I am representing an organization, their organization, plus chemistries of other people, everything, it would have resulted in disharmony. So that time, luckily, I just did Smaran of my Guru. I just took a deep breath and I said, I agree to disagree. That's all I said. This was my opinion that I shared, and I feel that was probably why we did all of this. But I asked the other members to give their point of views. If you also agree with the same point, I have nothing to say. That's what I told, and then everybody actually countered their own team member statement. I didn't have to do much of it. But what I'm trying to say is, we remain calm, then we will not have this trouble. Also, we should be ready for criticism also. One more thing, we are sometimes we are very immune. We like to see ahankar in everybody else, but we don't realize that the ahankar in us is only seeing the ahankar in another person. So instead of getting into this entire aspect of judging another person, looking at a moment, case means day to day basis. Damliji also always says live in data compartments. As the day comes to you, deal with it at that particular time instead of this will lead to this, this will lead to this, this will lead to this. It's unnecessary. You can't plan all the things that are going to happen. I don't know how many days ahead are there for me. I want it to go in a particular way. I don't want it to go in a particular way. But can I control how it's going to go? No. Divine is going to decide all of it. But what I have in front of me, I have to focus. And for that, I think probably the question was actually quite deep. What Dr. Bhanaji talked about this. Ahankar is
I
something
know, but
which is
so
visible
we,
only when you are
yeah,
calm. You need
yeah,
to
yeah.
have the smaran of the divine and let go of everything else. Again, I think it comes back to surrender, no?
Yes, yes. That moment you should be able to. That's all.
Yes. So it is not about not reacting at all. That become people make a difference. You know, I am not going to react. Then you are going to allow a wrong force to keep succeeding. So reaction should be there, but reaction should be higher reaction, higher action, we can say. In Gita, Krishna talked about Gunatita state, who is using the force of Rajas, who is using Sattva's goodness, who is understanding the impulse of Tamas also and able to utilize that also. For what? For the divine's work. So many times, if it is I and mine, I, me, mine, these thoughts come in, Ahankar will come in. When that I becomes we, it will disappear. So we'll have to keep our eye. Let the beautiful dream manifest, but let me not be the part of that dream in the dream also. I should not be. The most beautiful dream you have, let that, but stop just keeping it around you. Probably that is the thing. Dr. Bhanaji, is that
Yeah,
anyways
yeah. Thank you.
satisfactory
Yes.
already? Fine. All right, then I think if anybody else wishes to share anything, or if nothing is there, we can conclude. We can call it a day with a summary. Yes, anybody would like
Just
to give
wanted
us
to,
some? Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
Chitraji. Yes, please.
yeah, just wanted to share what I felt about once a person gets, we were telling about signs from the divine, right?
Okay.
It's best to accept experience as an experience and not draw inferences from those.
Hmm.
So, what I felt is if it's a positive experience, some people may try to attach it with some kind of a material manifestation and might get
Hmm.
disappointed if it doesn't get converted to that.
Ji.
Or if it's some kind of an alert or a negative omen, some kind of that kind of
Uh,
inference if they draw, whether it happens or not, they might start thinking of some kind of anxiety that this may occur or
Fearfully.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is what I felt. So it's best to accept experiences as experiences and not
Ah,
try to draw.
experience is experience.
Yeah.
Why do we want to draw a line, good or bad? I got promotion. Fine. Experience that promotion. After understanding promotion is going to create more trouble, that time you will know, no? Why do we have to worry right now? Instead of that is what Sherwindo also told in this correspondence.
Yeah.
See, that person, Sherwindo was working on that patient. The patient also felt it, the working of the force. That's a beautiful thing, no? But in that experience, inference came, and that inference, this means this only, and that conclusion was drawn. And because of that wrong conclusion, Sri Aurobindo said that's wrong. But he also just said like that only. So probably it gives us this much understanding. I think how Chitraji told us. When the experience comes, well, let's not call it good or bad. Again, one beautiful thing Damliji had told to all his students also, and he had learnt it from his father. He said his father had told him clearly that gods will also come in your dreams. Even the titans or the asuras also will come. Don't give importance to both. What is in the practical, that is what is important. You have to focus on that. So I think with this we conclude.
Yes.
Yes, anybody, anything else? Anybody wishes to add? Or we can have a summary? Yeah, okay. Chitraji, yes, please.
So we saw some conversations between Sri Aurobindo and Dr. Nirodbaran about the patients, and we saw some important points where Sri Aurobindo emphasizes the importance of diagnosis in the cases, and about the inference thing, what we saw just a few minutes back about a patient inferring about the first force working in a different way. And then, Dr. Nirodbaran asks Sri
Yeah,
Aurobindo that the experiences that they get help after their letters are read or only after they get the touch from the mother. And so it's not like it's an immediate help. Do prayers don't work in this case? So that was a question that Dr. Nirodbaran had. So Sri Aurobindo says that it depends on the inner being's state of awakening in each person. So some get it immediately through mental conversations that they have, or through writing, or it's after being read. So it depends from person to person, is something that we saw. And we also saw the mother's consciousness working in the recommendations that she gave on certain medications or the food, and also a case where she had an intuition that even Dr. Nirodbaran could not actually diagnose it at the first. So, and that made Dr. Nirodbaran a little guilty, but Sri Aurobindo told him that not to worry much about that and be bold. And Dr. Nirodbaran expresses his restlessness about the manifestation of what he saw in the dreams, where mother was writing something on his forehead, and that has not happened yet in the physical plane. So Sri Aurobindo says that he has to be quiet and open in order to allow it to manifest in this plane. So these were some of the important things.
yes, yes, absolutely, Chitraji. So beautifully summarized. Anybody would like to add anything else? Any other point? No? All right, let's conclude then with the Shanti mantra. Yes, please. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं
Hari Om.
हरि ओम जी नमस्कार पुनर्मिलामः हरि
Hari
ओम
Om.
Hari Om.
हरि ओम